Better notify some people that the stream is on. Alright, let's get into it. Just shuffle some windows around. Pop out that. Bring up the magic. YouTube's changed things. Great. More things to get confused by. As if I don't have enough already. Defcom, Craze, Alexandra, Jan Robert. What the heck? Okay, there's a rattly in there. That's probably the hard drive cable. The drive's probably been removed as a precaution against my bad behaviour. Got a Phillips head. Hey Jim, good. Glad to see you made it. Probably before the SMS made it to you. Let's hope that we do not have a dead CPU on this one, because you know it's a bit of a bad run there. The iPad mini at least worked out alright. Ah, damn it. I hate it when that happens. Yeah man. Doesn't seem like there are a lot of screws on the back of these things, but then when you have to undo them, all of a sudden there is. Do I have DEFCON? I'll tell you now, it was a dead CPU. Okay, so yeah, that's the rattly thing that I heard. Battery is disconnected. Most typical on these, looks like a 3115 I think. Most typical on these is you get corrosion along this bottom edge. Mind you, it typically doesn't cause a complete blackout unless the 342 is taken, and we in fact have a 2936. So we have a bit of a harking back to my original heritage. Being 2936 being my very first machine I ever worked on. Okay, so we got to change to the other MagSafe connector. And naturally, of course, I can't find the damn thing around anywhere. That's always the way. Okay, just stick that there. What'd you do with it, Paul? Ach, niemand. Yep, it's turning out to a normal stream. Paul not finding where he's put something. I normally keep this thing around fairly close by because, you know, I don't use it all the time. Well, okay, not all the time, but I use it frequently enough. It is the L-shaped version of that one. I mean, worst case scenario, I'll bring out. Okay, these two can go in the bin, they're damaged. Let's see, shove it over here maybe. Flip. Clean your room up, Paul. It'll be a great idea. You're not going to misplace anything. Fantastic. Ah, found it. Just had to threaten to the universe that I was going to clean my room up, and it said, oh no, we won't have that. Okay, let's see what we get, if anything. Green light, fan spin. Bong. What the hell? There's nothing wrong with this machine. It's fixed. No. Immediately. Alright. Well, that means we might have corrosion on it somewhere, so we're going to have to take the board out. I say we might have corrosion because often with the shake and bake fix technique, it can give you the false notion that you fixed it, but it's not. So we're probably looking for something crusty. I don't know. Not sure where we'll find it, but I have a feeling that's what's causing the problem. This thing's never actually been removed from its case before. You can tell because it's got that little black sticker over the keyboard backlight. And that pretty much never lasts beyond the very first time that you take it out. Yeah, NZ's the Fonzie fix. Hey, yeah. Not going to do that too many times. Okay, now I need my TX6. You can use the number 5 Torx on these, but it's a bit sloppy. It's not recommended. Okay, TX6, we're good. Alright, good morning to all those who have just turned up. Let's see, Miles, you've got a 1598. Keeps changing your mind with a G3 hot. Yo. Okay, what are you stuck there for? We've got a dust bunny build up. That's not a major thing. Hey Pedro, 846. The fact that this bonged and booted at least means we have avoided a hat trick on the CPU death. At least I hope so. 2936 doesn't have any real signature faults that I'm aware of. It's a fairly durable board. Except most of the time it just ends up being corrosion issues more than anything else. If there was anything that might be considered a slightly common fault, will be the capacitors up by the audio circuit. Sometimes they will have a habit of shorting out and you're left with a heartbeat fault, which fortunately isn't too hard to spot. I call it the heartbeat fault because when you see it on the infrared, or if you manage to put the alcohol in the right place, it continues to try and start the voltage rail up, and it shuts down because of overcurrent. But when it is trying to start up and running, it it makes the alcohol pulse. And if you put a little bit of red ink there, it looks like a little heart trying its best to keep the machine alive. Perfect for Halloween. Teresa, thought Jim would have told you. I don't know if that is original Apple, but that's 8GB units, so it seems unlikely, particularly for a 2936. I'd say it's an upgrade. Always forget about this. The one part of the 1278 disassembly that I hate, and that is getting the microphone out, because it just is so non-professional in getting that out. Okay, interesting. What a that's a barcode representing something. Okay, chassis looks kind of okay. Put that down on the floor. Interesting, this actually looks like a rebuild motherboard. It's got all these stickers on it. Take the glasses off and let's take a dive under the microscope. Let's see, we've got 2 slots or 1? No, it's got both slots now. Okay, what they've done is the original is underneath it. That's more the original 2 gig. I say it probably had 2x2, and then they put the 8 gig on top, but they left the second 2 gig in there just to give them 10 gigs in total. And yeah, no reason not to. It is possible this is suffering from the RAM slot failure, which does happen on all 1278s. I suppose that is a signature failure of the 1278. Yeah, let's have a look under the microscope and see if we can spot any of the classic sort of corrosion issues. This one is amazingly clean, to be honest. Normally that bottom edge is just rife with problems. So wherever this has been, it is being quite dry. So that's impressive. I'll give him that. Considering it's a 2936, henceforth its age, I'm very surprised at how clean this is. It's almost frightening, to be honest. Just know it's got this goop thrown all over it. And yeah, these handwritten numbers, I'm not used to seeing that. A little more dust on this side, obviously. A little bit of corrosion on the CPU decoupling cap, or is it? That might actually just be, what do you call it, thermal paste. Yeah, that's thermal paste. Alright, this one is starting to concern me by the fact that I can't spot anything yet. We'll take the heatsink and the audio off. Hey Rilla. Well, that didn't really do a good job on the paste application there. So like, sure they blobbed it in the middle, but that's about all they did. They didn't even press and spread. Yeah, well, this one's got me confused. Given the fact that I can't find any corrosion, I'm wondering whether it is a RAM slot failure problem. Although usually if it's a RAM slot failure problem, I would expect the symptoms to be listed on the job sheet as machine beeps. Yeah, the typical sort of 3 beep failure. So the fact that they haven't done that, a bit of a concern. Alright, we got some bad damage there on display. No, that's Thunderbolt. So that's a bit nasty, that one. Could be related. Still, inhibiting it from starting, it's a bit of a push. Well, we can't check for beeps because it boots. That's the trouble, it boots now. It's not showing any fault. If it was showing a fault, I'd be happy, but it's not. Just checking under the RAM and the pins. Sometimes you can see if there is a few rocks in there, but that's about it. I'm not even seeing any corrosion in those pins. Yeah, this is one of those frustrating jobs. Got a bit of corrosion on the battery connector, but it's really just on the shield. So again, hard to lay blame, but yeah, certainly that CPU paste application is a bit of a botch job. Seriously bad botch job. In fact, I'm sure this does not look like... oh, can't see it. Although it fits, this doesn't seem like a 2936 heatsink to me. It feels like something else. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just used to 3115s, but almost certain the 2936 looks different. It's a little broader. Naturally, Paul doesn't have one in there. I'll go into my other workshop and I've got a 2936 machine in there, and we'll compare the heatsink. It just seems a little diminutive. Oh, so I could be wrong. I'm probably just too used to 3115s these days. Oh wait, here, I've got a stack of them under here. DefPom. That's DefPom. Hey, you new mirror. Good to see you, mate. Was the battery dead? Did it have bad charger? Not sure. It was checked by another person, checked by a tech shop, so I kind of expected to do a little more due diligence. Speak not me, 3315. Come on, I'm sure one of these is what the hell does that even mean, Paul? What does that mean? It makes no sense. Okay, naturally, of course, the 2936, I've left that heatsink off, but that's fantastic. So I am going to have to actually dig into this. Damn it, I've really got to stop doing that. Spin too fast and then my tip comes out all giddy and skate over the board. Gotta stop doing that, just take it a little slower, a little slower. And the great reveal. Son of a bitch is upside down. God damn it. Looks like the same one that's on the one you have, Patrick Pitts. Alright. I think I might be thinking of the 3115 in that case. Oh well. I suppose I could have Googled for it. That probably would have been the intelligent thing to do. But these are live streams, and if there's one great thing about live streams is that half your brain takes a vacation, as does the intelligence. Joseph King, I try not to think about things like that when I'm doing technical work. It makes me get distracted, and I'll prematurely end the stream. Alright, okay, well, we'll take it the assumption that it is actually the correct one. Which, as I said, still leaves us with the issue of, you know, what exactly is going on here. Booted perfectly fine. I'll just take these heat sinks off. There's a couple of components underneath them. Very unlikely that there's going to be anything to reveal there, but, yeah. Stop using big words, it makes it worse. Okay. Yeah, it's only going to be one itty bitty little annoying piece of corrosion somewhere that could cause it. But typically if it is going to be the corrosion, I'll be honest, and usually if it's there's a little smidge down here. Usually it will be a slightly larger chunk of corrosion simply because physically you need to shake around a bit. Okay, so we've got a tiny bit of corrosion there. It could mean it's got a dud veer. Did you get the email I sent you the other day, the plastic storage cases? No, I don't recall seeing that. DefPum, I do not recall seeing that. Did you send it to pldaniels@gmail.com? Indy, it's often just atmospherical moisture, tiny little specks of dust that happen to pick it up. Let's see, I'm just opening up the 2936. Okay. Now, problematically for us, we do not appear to have the information we need about what on earth is over here, which is frustrating. And all these here represent what's on the other side, the little blue dots, and there's nothing showing there. So that's great. And it could be anything over here. So it's on, if I mark around about here, instead of, it's more of a backlight. That's more of a backlight zone. I would say those three corrosion points, I'd say that's them there. So what have we got there? Whatever these three are here, so we've got the cap and the resistor, and then the big cap. Unfortunately this one here doesn't, it's obviously an inner layer one. So that's a ground. What? Makes no sense. Yeah, it's just showing up. That's ground. And so is that. Oh, that's a separate sort of ground. It's ground backlight signal ground. Okay, that's fine. No wonder that didn't show up there. Alright, so they're just grounds. Can't really blame that. Is it possible the previous place wiped the board off? I'm not sure. Gavin Brown, wish I had 2 workshops. Carbon dioxide laser was bigger than I thought. They can be, yes. What are you using your CO2 laser for? So, pretty much no matter what, that bit of corrosion there and stuff is very unlikely to be causing issues. If anything, it would, the very worst, you'd basically get no backlight. That's unlikely. So I may have to just put this aside and ask the person if they can give me a better description of what's going on, because the only description I have is the one that you can see on the screen. I mean, obviously, yeah, the CPU is a complete train wreck. Definitely needs to be ultrasonic, that's for sure. Flare's not going to do it. Like I said, the trouble is, it works. Plug it in, it works. That's... Where's a bad sign? When it's a bad sign when you get a board in for repair and it works. But usually, I've found it to be 90% of the time corrosion that's been bumped around in the shipping, and all is good again. Yeah, you find the corrosion and everybody goes home happy. But we're not getting that today. The universe has decided that I have to work for my money for a change. No more just loafing around, hauling in the cash. The best thing okay, there's a little smidge under the backlight just there actually. There's a little tiny something. But at this point, the biggest thing I can think of is that Thunderbolt port. That's nothing. That's just a piece of random bit of sand. Now, the biggest damage we can see is this Thunderbolt port, and it has got a bit of scorching in there. The scorching or just more junk. But it does look like, yeah, the scorch, you can see some charring there between the right hand and the second right hand pin. Not quite sure what rails they represent. I suppose we can look it up. Do you have a good test board? Yeah, I've got, well, there was that one that you saw in the other machine. Oh, these ones still auto start. So I can't blame it on that. I'm just gonna Thunderbolt port pin out. At least I think it's Thunderbolt. Naturally, they've got all the USB 2 ones. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. USB-C ones, not... what is it? Thunderbolt 1, is it? Or Thunderbolt 2? Wait, is that even Thunderbolt port? S display port. Oh, no, you idiots. That's Firewire. That's Firewire 400. Or 800. 800. It's Firewire 800. Why do I even bother coming and joining these chats, given that no one knows anything? Yeah, here we go. All the people saying, oh, it's Firewire, after I've already said it. Good on you guys. You're so useful. About as useful as a chocolate teapot. Yeah, Firewire 800. So I deliberately trapped a few of you by saying 400 and you went, oh yeah, it's 400, 400, and it's like, no, it's 800. Game on. Miles, no one listens to you. You're there to be ignored. That is your punishment for being part of this group. I used to use Firewire a lot. I quite liked Firewire 400. It was certainly vastly better than USB 2. But, yeah. Okay, now, let's see. This is the connector, so it's the opposing. So we want pins 1 and 2. No. We want 9 and 8, I think. Okay, so it's power voltage 12.8 and a ground reference. They're the two that are charred up a bit. VP power volt, okay. One next to the Ethernet. Alright, here we go. Yeah, the schematic already had a good detail. Hey Greg, welcome. Yeah, I was using it for cameras as well. Firewire 400 made things so much easier, particularly when you're spooling off the DAT tapes. Okay, VP, this is the one we're after. And VP goes to PPVP via L4310, so where's PPVP go? PP Le Pew. Diode, inductor, okay. Oh, from the port? Okay. Here we go. And yeah, it's coming straight off PPBus G3 hot. Okay, so it's theoretically possible that if that port is shorted out, it could induce PPBus G3 hot to not become sufficient. But that fuse should theoretically take it out. Yeah, okay, yeah, I know that's the joke. That's the joke. But yeah, if it was shorted enough to bring PPBus down, given that it's a 1 amp fuse, you would expect it to drag, blow the fuse first. But anyway, these are Apple fuses. Yeah, Barry, it looks like it's a bidirectional power, like you can either take power or give power, depending on which pins you're on. Anyway. So where's that fuse? And that's the great big poly fuse. Okay, let's go to the microscope. Thank you, Joseph King. You know, I wish I could give you a double mod, but unfortunately I can't. Okay, so this is the Firewire Fuse. It's a poly fuse, so it basically means it'll short. It'll break if there's a short, but it will reform after the short is gone, and that actually explains why it could potentially drag the system down, because it's a poly fuse, which is generally a little bit slower than a normal fast blow fuse, like something like that. Because it needs more heat in the fuse itself to create the break effect, basically melt the little bit of wax or something that they've got in there. So yeah, that could well be it. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that it's pretty damn hard to prove one way or another. Now, the ultimate way I could fix this is to remove that fuse entirely and then never use Firewire 800, or we just simply clean out the port. It's going to be easy enough to just clean that port out. Certainly I'm not going to try and remove it. Trying to get this piece out without damaging the Ethernet or the display port, that's just not going to happen. But yeah, I'm going to guess that's what's happened. It's the only sign I have anywhere that something's gone amiss. Everything else is too good. No, freeze spray is definitely not the solution to this one. Hey Keith. Oh, you're welcome. No worries about the lateness. Just squirting in some contact cleaner. This is more of a car level contact cleaner, but it works. Yeah, it really hasn't done much at all. What do you reckon, audience? What do you reckon? You reckon that's theoretically possible, what I propose? You think that's going to be our culprit? Damn it. My thingy's too big. Let me pull out my little one. Okay, here we go. Here's the little itty bitty one. Looks like ultrasonic would have cleaned that up nicely. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. So yeah, we'll throw it in the ultrasonic and call it a day for that one. And redo that heatsink. That was terrible, what they did. Yeah, sorry Defcom, kind of took the fun away on that one for you. Gavin, I did see actually the news about the links being potentially brought back into the UK, England. It'd be quite interesting to see that happen. Hey, you use it? Okay. You may think I'm crazy marking everything, but believe me, I need to. The number of times I have come back to a job and gone, ah, crikey, which bits are which? So, much prefer to overmark things than undermark them. Just clean up the excess on here. Make sure I don't knock any caps off. I've actually done that once on my own board. I think the cap must have been a bit dodgy in the first place, because it's still pretty difficult to apply enough force to get one of those caps to come off. There was corrosion around the area. So, okay. Oh. The ultrasonic tank is actually warm enough for me to do this, but I'm not going to do it because I don't have a nice silencing cabinet yet. It's one of the many projects I have to work on. A cabinet that will keep things quiet. Alright, I'm just finishing up some stuff here so that I can put this into the shelf. And naturally we don't have a shelf space. God damn it. I really got to start sending more machines out than what I'm accepting. Alright, next job. We got 2338. Ah, jeez, this isn't going to be fun. Liquid damage. That's very descriptive. At least it's honest. Well, Teresa, I hope it's something simple, because I don't have a lot to go on with these ones. This one's got the trackpad, the touch bar on it as well. I got crusty stuff coming out of the edges here. It's not good. Hey, you burn 5,000 calories in one go. Put a pizza in the oven and walk. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Oh, this smells bad. This smells like toilet water. And it's sticky. Okay, it can't be toilet water if it's sticky. Yeah, this is an M1, I think. Pretty sure? Pretty sure this is an M1. Or is it? Barry, yeah, those SpaceX streams. I do love watching SpaceX stuff, but yeah, the people on there can be a little bit fun. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is disconnect this battery, of course. Oh, neat. They've captured. Yeah, okay. That's because that shouldn't have come off. Yeah, I've got to be real careful there. I almost just applied slightly conductive tweezers across all the actual battery terminals. That would have been funny. Not ha-ha funny, just more like, oh god, I can't believe I did that funny. That's the T6. Where's my T5? It's the T5. Alright, so it's got liquid damage, but we don't have much description beyond that. Well, it's probably the display that's dead on this. We've got smashed up in the edge here. Yeah, it's probably display that's dead. There's going to be some angry people if it's just the display. So what did I come here for? I came here to watch some repairs, not for rando stuff. I don't know. 5. We're getting 20 volts. 1, 2, 3. This thing's booting, come on. 300. 400, 500. Damn thing's booting. Alright. If it's booting, I really gotta tell the people sending me stuff to do better descriptions. Because, like, did they know it was booting? I guess we'll just take the board out and have a look at it, see if there's any corrosion. Maybe it's trackpad. I'll tell you what, I'll try and rip the battery out, and I promise I won't do that again in a hurry. And I did keep my promise. I did replace that battery at no charge to the user. And obviously I kept it for myself after that. So what we're basically looking for here is to see if there is any apparent liquid damage on the main board. And if there is, we'll try to clean that up, since it does seem to work. If there is not, then we basically need to assume that it's a deck fault, as in keyboard, trackpad, something like that. And if that is the case, then basically I'm just shutting this back up. There's no point to me trying to do anything more. Oh, I see they've gone to hex screws now for this. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Let's make it more difficult again. Good thing I've got the universal square hex driver, which is a pair of pointy nose pliers. Was Jim overdosing? Or did the medics give him something dodgy? Hey, Pianov. Yeah, people are really bad for giving descriptions. Like, I had a HP laptop come in yesterday, and the description was simply does not turn on. And I said to him, I said, yeah, do you get any lights or any activity? No, nothing. Alright. I plug it in, fire it up, and it turns out it's actually just stalling a little bit on a Windows update, one of the big updates. And I said to him, I said, you know, it's I said, can you confirm for me? I said, because it does actually come up with the attempting to boot and all that. They go, yeah, yeah. It just doesn't boot to Windows, it doesn't turn on to Windows. And I'm like, oh, great, I mean, I get it. You have to try and decipher what they're saying. It's not always so easy, though, when it's a drop-off or mail-in situation, because you can't confirm with them prior to taking on the job, as it were. It's different if they bring it in to you and you both have a look at it at the same time and you can work out your terminologies. But when it's a mail-in and stuff, it's like, well, you can't. Hey, Catherine. So the best fault report I ever received was the green light is on but doesn't work. Well, at least that's somewhat descriptive. Oh, CivLab, that's a little harsh. Come on. Admittingly, I haven't encountered too many HP laptops that I'm actually happy with, but particularly with the type of weather we have here where it's quite hot, the HPs were generally at a disadvantage compared to, say, the Toshibas. The Toshibas typically had a lot more airspace in them compared to the HPs. The HPs tried to squeeze the absolute everything out. Okay, so we've got a 820202 something board here. Another board view we'll never get. 02020. Welcome, 02020. I've never seen you before. Eight two zero. Cecilia from Poland? Yeah, Toshiba's no longer manufactured, yes. Yeah, Miles, I'm just gonna rage every time I hear about that group. Seriously raging. The bastards are deliberately holding back releasing of the board views and things like that to the greater population because, that's their business model. We hold the board views, you can all buy our software, and I'm like, damn it, you're killing my market. And they know that. Why would they bother releasing it if it's no advantage to them? So basically those companies are becoming the Apple of the repair industry, so to speak. Before it used to be a case of everybody shared everything until people worked out, there's real profit in this. I mean, not that I'm one to talk. I mean, I make money off selling board view software. Okay, what am I missing here? What's under here? Just give that a little bit of heat, like about 100 or something. But I do have plans on how to circumvent the market position. But it is going to take work from everybody, or many people. But it's it's like that, or we get nothing. As simple as that. I see Dave Jones even brought up indirectly that sort of situation. What? They're using this very frustrating rubber adhesive stuff that it doesn't evenly come off one side or the other. It just, the adhesive is stronger than the material that it's holding. That's annoying. And that is a special screw. Next, keyboard flex. Sorry, this is taking a little longer because I haven't actually disassembled one of these before. Okay, there we go. No liquid damage on that side. This is really looking more like it's going to be a trackpad type fault. Or something like that. I have a feeling there's no liquid at all on this board. Hey Ted Berry. Barry Rest, right, yeah, the framework. Yeah. Time will tell if we'll get to see any real useful data out of them. I mean, it's great that we can reassemble them and all that at a modular level. But again, it helps, but it's still not board level repair, and we, obviously for the reasons that they've explained, getting schematics is going to be hard enough. Getting board views, you may as well just, yeah, it's not going to happen. The intent may be great, but at the end of the day, unless we actually have those files, it's pretty much useless. It's kind of, I don't know, is it virtual signaling? I don't know. It basically makes them really no better than a desktop PC. So with a desktop PC, you swap out the parts, boom, where you go. They will not release schematics and board view. There you go. So basically, they're kind of capitalizing on the right to repair movement for their own sales advantage with no real advantage for us. Because realistically, most of the time, people do not upgrade their laptops. It's kind of like the phones that you can change the parts, modular phones and all that. It's barely accommodating to a fraction of a % of the potential consumers. It's just a marketing ploy. It's nothing more, in my opinion. Yeah, there is no damage on this board. This is going to be a trackpad slash type fault. The board is fine. And what was the phone? It was I can't remember the phone, but yeah, I mean, I approached them and said, yeah, can we get board views and things like that? And they're like, oh no, we can't do that sort of thing. And even Lewis asked them, they're like, no. So yeah, it's just them cashing in on the idea. You have people going, oh boy, we can repair this, and really it's completely moot. They're no better than the rest of them. And it's not because they're trying to be malicious or anything like that, and what. It's, I mean, they do probably genuinely feel like they're helping by having a modular laptop, but without board views and schematics, then it's pointless. No, that's a dead end. Pine, yeah, I think it was the Pine phone, that's right, yeah. I got a bad association with Pine as a brand. I think it was in the early 90s when I was doing running a repair workshop. We the main shop, they were building machines out of a brand called Pine, the parts, and they were just truly awful parts. Oh, it was horrible, really horrible parts. Nothing was finished on it properly. The edges of the PCBs were just like die press cut or something like that, and you'd have so many injuries at the end of the day because of the poor quality of these machines. Just the parts, 50% of the boards didn't work. in the end I just refused to accept any of the parts anymore from the supplier. That it was sort of like I was the workshop manager. The shop, now there's a bit of damage on the flex right there. The shop was getting these in to sell to people, and then of course when they invariably fail, they'd come back to me, and that's when I got to the point where I said, look, you're just throwing money away. These boards may be cheaper by about 5%, but you're losing all your money on the service that's under warranty. But yeah, that was back in like 92 or something like that. Yeah, I remember Lewis looking at the Pine fan. He had difficulty in getting it to flash with the latest firmwares or something like that. Yeah, what we're doing here is we're just going to have a look at the trackpad, see if there's any liquid in that. But certainly these new companies jumping up trying to capture some market by saying, look, we allow you to repair it and all that stuff. It's, no, you really are not doing anything for us whatsoever. You guys don't even know actually what you've got there. You aren't even probably involved in the design, and ta-da, there's all your liquid damage. Yeah. Yeah. So it's probably in the keyboard as well. So I'm going to just tell this person they pretty much need a full deck replacement, and fortunately, because this is business to business, I'm sending this back to the business and they can deal with it. I'm not touching this stuff. Okay, interesting. We've actually got a double up of one of the plates. See, they have all got, or is that just an outline? Actually, it might just be an outline. Yep, it's an outline. Yeah, the M1s these machines are too new for me to be dealing with directly. I'll have a look, see if there's any scorching marks or whatever on the flexes. Hey, 555's in here. Yeah, Andre, that's a good idea. Yeah, send it back with a corded mouse. Okay, so it doesn't look like possibly the okay, there you go. There's corrosion there on that trackpad flex. That's an underfill, so that's fine. I know people hate underfill, and you're right. It's a pain when you have to remove it, but it probably saves more than what you get frustrated by. I suppose I could... No, don't, Paul, don't. I was going to say, I suppose I can quote on a trackpad replacement, but honestly, I'm suspecting the keyboard's probably taken out as well. So, as such, the mature and responsible thing for me to do is to walk away. Yeah, Jim, the reason why the M1 will be fine to repair and can be fine to repair is because a lot of the more sensitive circuitry about the CPU and things like that is now contained on that singular module. So whenever you can modularize, blah blah, whenever you can put everything into a module and seal it off, then you do inherently tend to improve reliability, assuming you haven't completely trucked up something by putting into the module something that generates a lot of heat and the heat can't escape and then it fails because of that. But if you've got that side under control, then yeah, modularizing helps a lot. And so what you're left with on the M1 at that point then is more just stuff that we can repair. Yeah, it's more discrete parts, connectors, generally items that we actually may have more access to. Because most of the custom fanciness stuff is what is going to be sitting on that CPU. And I've noticed that they've actually done pretty good here in shielding up these bits in here. The main power rail generators are under there too. So, you know, they're learning their lessons. They're putting the stuff that is critical underneath some level of protection. And so all you're left with, like these here, they're just speaker amps. That's fine, you know, they're sitting on the outside. Don't know what that part is. Looks like they've had some pretty good test examples there. Now, backlight driver, I'm going to guess, based on the... Yeah, it's backlight driver. Audio chip. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, from a repair perspective, the M1 is nicer, but simply for the fact that what you have exposed is more repairable. Yeah, more speaker amp stuff. Some chips here I don't recognize. Okay, yeah, ISL. It's probably the riskiest one that they've got sitting out there in the open. CD3217s. So yeah, I mean, once we do get board views, it's going to be quite a bit easier. At least at this point, if there is damage in this area, we have a pretty good chance of being able to repair it still, simply because the USB-C input, these CD3217s, 15s, whatever, the construction of the circuits are basically, it's just a modular block that they cut paste from one board to another. The arrangement may be different, but once you sort of understand that they've changed the arrangement a little bit, it's still relatively easy to debug it. Like, you know, you got your USB-C ROM there, protection diodes. Looks like they've done a nicer job this time of actually laying out the parts too. You know, rather than cramming them all on the back here, because there was always an issue with that. Oh, there's one drop of liquid there, but that's certainly not going to be a problem. So yeah, I agree with Tim that this is actually an easier board to work on than some of the previous incarnations of the USB-C boards. So that, yeah, that's done. Not sure I'm going to bother putting that back together tonight. No, the trouble is I'm not even sure. I've got to find a replacement 165 board and change the serial number on it. So I guess we'll do that. No time like now, I guess. Let's see. Where was my victim? Ah, there it is. The board was the one that we worked on the first night that had the dead CPU, so now unfortunately I'm probably going to have to butcher or steal a board out of one of the machines I was going to sell. That's the way it goes sometimes. In fairness though, I'll probably make just as much money selling the mainboard swap compared to selling the whole machine. No need to check the keyboard. Now, Mike Billman, the reason why I'm not doing that is because I'm basically just going to say to the person they're going to need a replacement deck. I would actually more suggest that they end up going to an Apple authorized agent and having it replaced outright. At least they'll keep their warranty. Let's see. Oh, you're a 3437. You're no good to me. I want a 165, which is what that other machine is. Barry, the quality of their chassis is superior, and people, they feel a bit funny, strangely enough. They'd rather have the main board replaced than replace the whole machine. It's one of those psychological things. And I'll probably still have to change the serial number anyway, just in case they do have data that is tied to that serial number. I mean, I don't know how likely that is, but it happens infrequently enough. But it still happens, so best I do it. Oscar, I'd leave that to them. There will be some indication that someone's been fishing around in there, though. You know, it won't be a perfect looking system. Alright, so this is a 165. I'm pretty sure this is a nice one too. I'm hoping this is what I'm thinking it is. It should be a 1.8 8 gig. If it's a 4 gig, then why don't I just boot the damn thing up? That'd be the smart thing to do, Paul. Why bother pulling out the main board and finding out it's not? Oh. Great, so boots, but only to tell me it wants a battery. The other problem, Barry, is if people also do tend to know their screens, and so they see a different screen or something like that, they'll be like, "This isn't mine." Okay, about this Mac, what have we got? Oh, I've already got it up. Overview. 1.88. Yep, perfect match. 2017. It is going to hurt for me to have to give this one up. It's a nice machine. But in all honesty, I was not really getting too many bites on this one in terms of selling it. Hey, Richard Moore. I did sell another good one recently. That went to a good person at least. But this one here, I wasn't able to shift locally. Hey, Pro Engineer. What's the go for all the multimeter ICs? Oh, well, yeah, I've just got to go through and change them all. I'm still waiting for my keypad circuit boards to arrive, the version 3 of this thing. They did land in Brisbane, I think yesterday or today, which means they're probably going to be a week away, given that we got this strike action starting up. But I've got the meters, I've got everything else. It's just a case of now I've got to get the capture keyboards. Ah, slipped. Couple more to go. Or one more, I think. Okay, that's that. A very, very nice board, this one. Very nice. I don't want to give it up. It's like a brother to me. Not really. You do get a little bit possessive of nice gear when you get it. Man, it's gonna suck to actually even do work on this one. Alright, that's fine. Come on, Paul, man up, man up. Now we're going to do our best here to emulate Jason Vollmer of STS and use the absolute minimum amount of flux possible. Yeah, I think a good 165 is a nice machine. And Paul has failed in using the absolute minimum possible. Such a failure. I have to iron my hands after this one. Like a good dobby. Yeah, thanks Joseph, you're trying, you're trying. Yeah, it's a wooden bond chip. 25Q64. Anyway. Now I just got to find another 165, steal its chip, assuming I can find one. Oh, got one there. Well, that's a nice one. Sorry. It's trying to take a chip from a board that is never to be revived as opposed to a board that might be revived. Like I've got 165s that have the dreaded 10-second spin fault. So I would still like to hold on to those in the prospect that one day I actually find the real cause and it's not CPU. Of course, you know it's going to be CPU, but you know, I'd like to hope that it's not CPU. Okay, that's a little shonky, that one. See if we can find a little bit better. Actually, I might actually have replacement BIOS chips for this device. Let's see, iPhone? No, we're not going to go get iPhone ones. I wasn't able to get replacement BIOS chips for the 3437s. At least I couldn't get the size, the big size from Element 14. But I was fairly sure I did get them for the 165s. Yeah, worst case scenario, I'll steal one out of here. What's this? No, not TPS. Synchronous buck converters, certainly not. Mouser. Backlight chips, backlight chips. VRMs. Empty packet. It's probably not even going to be in here because that's just the way it goes. Son of a gun, it's not in here. What a pain. I've got one other box I can check. Stream has been running for an hour and a half. Okay, these are 3437s. So we've got some BIOS chips there. These are mostly just reclaim parts. Okay, what have we got? 165 donor, and we have got a chip in there, so that's good. We can use that. I'm just kind of curious now to see if what I was looking for is even in here. RAM chips, SMCs, SMCs, SMCs. Oh, my voice is harmonizing with the fan. It's not a good thing. Donor BIOS, okay. Yeah, what I was looking for is not in there. But that's okay. We got one here. Come on. Son of a gun, yeah, I know that one. That's the one where they're discussing the differences between the chimpanzees and the bonobos, or whatever they call them. And it's also got Ewan McGregor in it, yes. I know the movie. Yeah, that should do the trick. Hey Toast Tech, Travis, you talking about this little two-sided daughter board thing? I think I got these ones from AliExpress, but you can get them in many places. But yeah, these ones I got from AliExpress. I've still got quite a few of them in their packets still. Idiot. It doesn't seem like the right. That doesn't seem like the right BIOS number. That's not trusting that one. Should have been. I could be wrong, but not trusting it. Yeah, that's my iMac behind me. It's just the curtains over the edge of it. Alright, no, looks like I'm wrong. It's just, this being a 2017, it's got a more recent sort of serial number on it. Just feels a little bit funky putting it in. Yeah, bugger. FV, FW, P1P, TJ, 1WL, J1WL, J1WL. Yeah. Alright, now we've got to get the now we've got to get the CRC set correctly. Alright, so it should be this number here, backwards. So, what do we want? Should be 81, C1, 1999. And it's now valid, so that's good. Alright, now we've got to write it. Oh, I've just got to remember the damn tool. Every freaking time. I've got to write a batch script for this because make it easier. Shell script rather. Let's see. Thank goodness I keep a very long history. On most of my machines I have like 100,000 command entry history. So I can always find old commands that I've entered in. Now the only thing I haven't remembered is what my chip type was. It will actually tell me if I get it wrong. It'll come back and it'll say, the number you have entered is not the one that we are reading. The one that we are reading is whatever it is, and we recommend this. I got 25Q64 wind bond. So I'll demonstrate that. Look, we can just do this, and it'll be wrong. Oh, you can't see. Sorry. And see, it says here, you know, it was expecting something, got something different. So then we just go along. Interesting though, I wouldn't have expected it to use, I don't know what the S prefix on that one is, but anyway. It's happy with that, so now it burns it. Alias the commands, nah. I prefer to shell them so that when I do a list, I can, what do you call it? When I do a list, I can see what the shell commands are for it, so. I suppose I could just pull up aliases and have a look, but personally I find just having the history available, that's good enough for me. Looks like it's doing a slow write on this one. Oh well. Sit back and, oh god, that pain. I don't know what I ate or something happened, and I just realised we don't need the exhaust fume. And yesterday morning I woke up and my skin all around my chest and on my back and then the back of my arm here had that real touch sensitivity, like someone had done a great big horse slap on my body. And I don't know what's caused it, but it's weird. And now today it's still got a bit of that, but it also now feels like if you have overstrained your muscles, like if you're trying to show off and you clench your biceps too much or your pecs too much, and you're left the next day with that hurt muscle feel. So I don't know what happened. Sometimes if I eat a certain kind of food, there's some preservatives that can do that to me. That, or in all honesty, the other option is I had some kind of muscular seizure or something during the night, which is a little concerning, but we'll see how it goes. I have a feeling it might have been food related. I did have some cheap wasabi, which of course is, cheap wasabi is just horseradish with green colouring. It might have been that. I didn't participate in the house demolition, no. I mean, I moved a pallet of bricks and I moved a bunch of wood, but it didn't feel like that. Yeah, it was something different. I need to stop showing off to a leader, yeah. I think the worst I've ever had that sort of situation when it comes to food is I had a bottle of wine when I was in South Africa. I mean, I unfortunately drank a little bit too much in South Africa in general, but that's South Africa for you. And I woke up the next morning and I could not really breathe. It felt like someone had put me in a sandwich and I had rocks on my chest and everything. I was just like going, that's all I could do. You know, the sharp pain was just agonizing. And I managed to call the hospital and they said, oh, come on in. And I'm like, yeah, that's really helpful. Yeah, I'm going to get up, come on in when I can barely even get off the floor right now. Yeah, it makes you appreciate the Australian medical system with ambulances and things like that. Needless to say, I didn't die that day, thank goodness, but it turns out there was some preservative in the wine that triggered it. It's the age. I hope not, Tomlov. I hope not. We'll see how we are tomorrow. Yeah, so long as it morphs a little bit, as in changes, shifts around a little, yeah, just sort of abates. then I'll feel comfortable enough. But if it sort of stayed the same and got worse, then I'd definitely be panicking. Yeah, that's right, JCD. You got to drink to survive in South Africa. There's not really a lot of other options. Some people do it without drinking, and I applaud them. And I mean, I'm now one of those people who do not drink. But at the time, yeah, you have your braais, you drink your hunters, you drink your Windhoek lager, you drink your wine, you eat your potjies. You just try everything you can to keep the reality of what's outside the security enclosure away from you. Okay, alright, let's get this chip moved across now. Flush my system with ice cream. I can't even do that anymore. Ice cream gives me grief. I mean, I can have a little bit, but not a lot. Have you ever done the allergy test? No, I haven't. Hey, I'm Six Skills. I know I have a predisposition genetically to becoming sensitive to iodide, and some drugs like what is it? I want to say cortisone, but it's not that. Damn it. There's a painkiller that they often mix with Panadol or Panadine or paracetamol. And they often call it Panadol, Panadine Fort. What the hell's the extra thing they put in it? Anyway, yeah, it's probably not recommended that I have that stuff. Just can't remember the name of it. That's great, you know. Medical officials go, "Are you allergic to anything?" And I'll go, and they go, "Okay, so it's a no." I'll know it as soon as I see it, of course, but that'll be too late. Codeine, that's it. Thank you very much, Keith. Much appreciated. And I am Six Skills, thank you. Yeah, yeah, giving me codeine may elicit a response from me that isn't good, based on the fact that it happened with my mother, and we tend to have a fairly similar response to foods and chemicals. So yeah, sometimes it helps to keep an eye on what your parents get afflicted with when it comes to foods and drugs, because you may be next in line. Maybe not exactly the same response, since obviously you're not, unless you're a clone, but yeah, it's worth keeping an eye on that stuff. What am I reacting with in the ice cream? I'm not exactly sure. It might be the sugars, if they've got like fructose or whatever, or not really sure. All I know is that after I have a bit too much of it, it will make my liver hurt. So it's yeah, my liver says, "Oh hell no." And I do have what is it? Non-alcoholic fatty liver problem, which is from the anxiety. It is a thing. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you give up the alcohol, and then you find out that, congratulations, you're not getting cirrhosis of the liver from alcohol, but instead, if you don't get your anxiety down, you're going to get it from the anxiety. And you're like, oh boy, my anxiety just went through the roof. Thank you. So yeah, sort of doomed one way or another, aren't you? Yeah, but it's actually, yeah, it's a known thing. It's a known term, non-alcoholic fatty liver. Farquhar, yeah, there's another. Yep. Dig out my liver and turn it into pate. What am I, some sort of goose? Probably sucrose, yeah. If I have too much of it, yeah. I definitely do have a thing with sugar. I kind of get into it a little bit much. And that's the other thing is I think I precursored it because our back room, our back patio, it turned out really good. It's an excellent looking construction. Oh man, I just blew that too much all over the place. Anyway, yeah, the back patio, it's looking absolutely superb, and we sort of celebrated. And by celebrate, I mean, I got a bag of snakes and chomped into those within 24 hours, and then chocolate biscuits. So yeah, it's basically for me. I think it's sugar related. I've checked my blood sugar levels and they're fine, but I still think I've got to be careful. So dad, lactose, sucrose, and maltose intolerant, ended up with stomach ulcer. Yeah. Pre-diabetes, let's hope not, eh? I'll keep it out of that. I mean, aside from that, I don't actually have a lot. Like, I don't have sugar buns. I just generally don't have a lot of sugar. But if you put a bag of lollies in front of me, I will sort of have difficulty in avoiding that. I do also have a bit of a thing for fruit juice, but again, I try to keep that under control as well. My coffee I like to have nice and bitter, so. Alright, user. Yeah, well, Micro's got diabetes, so yeah. Okay, so hopefully that's that board done. There is a little bit of alcohol residue marking on the board, but we don't need to ultrasonic it for that. Just getting the other chassis here. Hey BSC, how's it going? I don't know where I put my... Oh well, doesn't matter, this will do. Yeah, the only way I can control myself around food substances that I shouldn't be eating is to not have those food substances. It's basically got to be abstinence or nothing. Keith McDermott, I have not had sugar since the 70s, but still, oh man, that's rough, yeah. That's the other thing is, sometimes you do the best you can, try to live a decent life and stuff like that in terms of health, and you still end up getting knocked over with something like that. It's kind of like people who never smoke and they end up with lung cancer. Yeah, it's like, wow, that's just sucky luck of the draw there. Like, I mean, take my father, or him being a smoker and just a normal sort of boomer type person, and it ended up pancreatic got him. So, yeah, we were all thinking, well, if something's going to come along, it'll probably be lung or something related to smoking, but no, pancreatic. So I guess you never really know what you're going to get hit with. Let's see, Chris, being dominated by missing PM sleep. Oh, nice. Chris, you on the 820165 board view, there is an open board data guide there, which you can use for helping you diagnose the PM sleep S4L issue. Let me bring it out for you, Chris. Okay, so this is the 165. It pretty much applies to the 3437 as well. And there's a solution there on the OB data for missing PM sleep S4L, and it gives you all these rails to go through. It won't solve every single job, but it has solved about 50% of them for me. Sometimes though, they do end up being CPU's fire trucked, or the PCH is fire trucked, but at least you get the answer. Alright, so this board is that the board I just put in? Right, yeah. Well, no. What's going on here? Knucklehead. Alright. Pay no attention to the man in front of the screen. Their answer is CPU. Yeah. Anyway, so the guide might help you fix maybe 25% of them, and at least find the true cause on 50% of them. But 75% of them are probably going to be end of the road. Checking again. Came corrosion around SMC and near the main ISL. Get a light now on the charger, but no 5 volt. What? No 5 volts on where? Well, which 5 volt are you talking about, Chris? What you talking about? No EN signal. I mean, you enable. Yeah. Oh well, whatever. Anyway, check that guide. As you click on all the various little bits on it, it will skip to the. Oh, like so. Like if you get that, it will click there. Yeah, click, and it guides you around. Okay, SRTCRS is not there. That's my bad. So. I'm gonna have to fix that zoom factor up. That's probably my own fault. Settings, program preferences, flex, net zoom. Try 10. Now I'm probably gonna be too close. No. Okay. Oh well. Anyway, you get the idea. Oh, Joseph, right. That's one of my knucklehead comment. Gotcha. Sure hope this works. By the way, with the open board data, if you are interested, send me a message, because I have got funding and I've bought a bunch of multimeters and making a bunch of these and all the other stuff, and you can contribute that way. So we're going to give you the equipment to let you contribute, or to help you contribute. And that includes FlexBoardView. And that is being sponsored via Mr. Rossman and his sponsors. So this isn't coming out of my pocket. I am being given this funding from another source. So yeah, if you have a couple of boards and you want to help, let me know. Send me an email. The multimeter even comes with a pack of the Hirschman test leads that I use. So it's not a bad deal for putting in a couple of boards worth of data. Even if the board already exists in the database, we are of course always after multiple entries for each board, and that allows us to average out what people should expect and give us some min-max ranges, things like that. Let's see. And it doesn't have to be just Apple. I mean, it can be another. Yeah, as long as you can get the board view and the schematic for whatever it is that you got, then we're yeah, happy to have it added to the database. I know most of the time that when we're talking about this stuff, people are thinking of iPhones or MacBooks and things like that, but really it applies to anything. Doesn't even have to be computers, can be radio systems, anything at all. It's all just about adding this sort of information to a global database that everyone can use. Is there any paperwork? No, nothing at this point. Also had 2020 Pro come in. Boots, doesn't see charger in OS and doesn't charge, but switches from 5 to 20, pulls 20 milliamp. 20 milliamp, that's probably going to be a short on your PP bus or something like that. Yeah, if you can get to 20 volts and then you find you're getting a very little current being drawn, as long as it's not 50 or 70, I think it is, which often is T2 DFU mode. But if it's like 20 milliamps or something, it's often a short further down on your PV bus or something like that. So have a look around for a short. If you've got an infrared camera, plug that in, you may see it pulsing. I mean, I could be wrong. It's not always that, but I'm starting to find many times that low current readings generally infer or generally have been a short circuit. Unless it's a T2 DFU failure, in which case, yeah, good luck. Ramirez, let's see, I'm about to learn how to fix iPhones for data recovery. How has it gone for you adding this service? I'm not sure what you mean by adding that service. You mean me as a business providing that service? If so, I generally hand those off to people who do that more than I do, like Bill from A1 Mobile Repairs. I usually hand off a lot of stuff to him. He's got more experience dealing with that sort of thing. You can get to the job quicker. But depending on the situation, I do occasionally them here. You know, I'll have a check of the board, see if it's not something like the delightful Wi-Fi cap short or something like that. It's always nice when you encounter one of those. Is it true on the USB-C models if one controller is down cause others not? Yes, they all have to be functional, and that is the real pain in the ass about it. But what you can do is you can check, you can sort of get an idea which one's at fault by checking the values. Again, this is, let's see, I think it's 239 I've got it on. So I'm just checking. Yeah, okay, here we go, schematics. Like on these, you can go through and you can do your checks. You check your voltages, see, and that's for all four of them. Often you'll be missing 1V1, which means you may have a problem with the USB-C ROM, which is a little chip that hangs out somewhere. And then if you get through all those, then there's some more checks you can take at the end of that, just seeing why you might not get 20 volts. So it's not a guaranteed solution to things, but it can at least help you pick out some of the easier ones. But yeah, they all have to be functional in order for them to give you the 20 volts. But again, a short on that side, on the USB-C side, that can cause them to not come up as well. Speaking of DFUs, anyway, you can tell the board is in DFU without another. I don't know. No, I really don't know. S, can you just send that to me again? Sorry, if just put in there, say it's S from YouTube. So yeah, that would help. Sorry if I've missed that. Assume since the 3217 I pulled as a burn spot. Oh, that's bad. Yeah. I have no replacements. Okay. What you can try to do, I don't know if this works with the 3217s. I've never tried it, but you can try to take the second one off and see if it will boot just from the battery. Don't quote me on that one as being an actual fix, but I have heard that it does work sometimes with the 3215s, so reason to believe it should work with 3217s. So yeah, take the second one off and see if it boots. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it seems like when all of them are out of the way, then the rest of the system goes, oh well, fair enough, and just goes ahead and boots. Kind of interesting. Thanks, S. I appreciate that. Sorry about that. Things get a bit crazy around here at times. That's my excuse for I suck. Chris, has yours got 2 or 4? Have you got a 2 or 4 unit one? Because if you've got a 4 unit one, that's going to suck. I'd just wait for your replacement to arrive. If you've got a 2 unit one, then yeah, take the second one off and see how it goes. 4-port version now. Wait for the chip. What is this? FWF? Yeah, whatever. So test if this boots. Yeah, I kind of hate the 4-port for that reason. I presume you've got a stencil for your 3217s, or are you manually reballing like a sucker? Overhead. Just as a disclaimer, the advice I give on this channel is most likely wrong. So just consider that for everything. I don't need to do an NVRAM reset initially on this one because I wasn't changing, like breaking out of a password lock or anything like that. And also I didn't want to because I'm booting from the USB stick initially. When I go to do the proper boot from the main SSD, I'll then do the NVRAM set. But yeah, if I had been doing a password reset, then yeah, I would have to do the NVRAM reset before it even booted. It's a little sluggish on the boot, but we'll see. Interestingly, their chassis is in far worse condition than what the one that I pulled it from is. James, I'm not sure whether it's fixing up the storage on that. Maybe I pulled that too prematurely from a previous job, or what it's doing. We'll find out. Or maybe it has a sensor issue. Maybe there's something on that board that I didn't pick up when I repaired it. I do know one of my USB sticks is coming to the end of its life, so I'll have to watch out for that. So I should really be using the USB SSD version of the boot. No, well, let's give it some time. It is taking too long at this point. It could be their battery is crap. That's the other possibility. But it shouldn't take this long. Oh. I do like these sticks though, because they've got the USB-C on one end and then they've got USB-A on the other, so it makes it a very versatile boot stick for me. And the nice thing is you can actually leave it in the middle and... Whoops. Yeah. Alright, you're taking way too long. What is going on here? Fine. Force me into an NVRAM reset then. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I could be doing a check disk, but it normally does. It is progressing still, but just wait for it to figure it out. Generally, whatever action you take is going to be the incorrect action if it's a 50-50 choice. So it's gonna apply or fit the 50-50-90 rule or 50-50-10 rule, whichever you prefer. Joseph, I have actually found that, yes, some of them do get quite hot. It shouldn't actually be taking this long. I mean, it's not the first time I've done a BIOS serial number change and booted from. Normally these will boot, like I boot these into multiple machines in any given day, all different serial numbers, and this sort of thing doesn't take this long. This is something else. This is either it check disking itself or we've got a sensor fault. Could start in verbose mode. I always forget to do that. And then by the time you're already this far in, you kind of go, well, I'll just wait for it. See, the other problem is I actually don't know what state this chassis is in, because this chassis this is the one with the dead main board, the CPU dead main board. So I don't know whether I'm I just don't know what I'm dealing with. Anyway, everyone can have their speculation, but we will find out the truth when it actually boots. But this is genuinely feeling more like this is a sensor fault. I'm going to say actually it's a bad battery if you ask me. Something mashing with one of the I2C lines. The SMC should... I've tested this main board and it works beautifully in that other chassis, and I've tested it for several days. So I know the main board is actually good. Which is why I'm thinking either keyboard, trackpad, or battery is the problematic factor. In fact, I'm almost certain, so I'm actually going to drown it. Okay, drowned. Naturally, of course, I screwed the damn battery in. The other problem... I was going to say it could be the SSD, but it's not. That doesn't come into play at this point. But the battery's in pretty poor condition, so it's reasonably probable that it could be that. Now, it's not so much that it would just be a dead battery, because a dead battery alone, the system can get around that. But if it's dead in the sense of messing with the data lines, then yeah, that's a problem. Okay, so we'll stick my beautiful battery in here. We'll do an NVRAM reset, even though this eliminates the ability for us to diagnose which was actually at fault. Wait for the next one. Pro engineer, probably more likely someone released some butterflies at the wrong time. Okay. Yeah, Travis, as long as they're not concurrently being used, that's the thing. Like, it's kind of like a book. It's like the old Borland license system, where you can end up having it on multiple systems so long as only one is being used by you at any given time. So obviously you can't have two separate people using those licenses concurrently. Feeling like a trackpad. Change rent to bright color. There we go. Yep, there we go. Battery. Or something in the NVRAM. Okay, we're at 1%. That's pretty damn low. One way we will be able to confirm this is when we put the original battery back in there. If it does it again, then we know, okay, it's crap. It looks crap. And okay, looks like the serial number is correcto, and obviously we don't know their password. Let's see how Valley goes on it. Okay, frames per second is good. We're doing about 20 odd. It's showing up as 1.88. Perfect. I'm just going to verify that serial number. FVFWP1 PTJ1WL. Yep, okay. No, this one has not had Big Sur, that disgusting operating system. Okay, the battery's charging, so that's good. Michael, the original fault was that the original board had a big fat original short on it, and the short is actually inside the CPU. Oh no, it's not on the CPU. The CPU might be good on this. It's a board level short on this one. So one day I may actually bring my infrared heater assembly out and try and take that CPU off and put it on a board that I'm having problems with that boot problem where the 165s will spin for 10 seconds and then stop. So I've got an opportunity there to actually find out what's going on. The trouble I have with Big Sur, I'll admit, it's superficial. It's the style of their icons and the look and feel of it. I'm just not keen on it. And it's not because it's new, because when Aqua came out, I loved it. And yeah, I haven't had any problems with the new systems new styles that they come out with. But then Big Sur hit and I was like, yeah, well, no thanks. It's a bit like the cheese grater iMac, Mac Pro. I was like, what the heck were they thinking? You know, who is leading up the Apple style department these days? Because they've really deviated. Alright, so I'm happy with that. Shut down. Shut down. Hey, Micromage. We'll put the old battery in, see if it misbehaves again. Oh, I know why it took a little longer still to boot on this one, because we did the drown of the boot. So because we killed the boot, the hard kill, it then had to check it, which is why it took a little bit longer to boot than what I was expecting. Yeah, Big Sur just, yeah, I don't like it. Maybe as an actual operating system it's okay, but in terms of visual and that the EFI meddling, I'm not keen on it. Hey, Kopaz. Okay, so we've got the old battery back in. Our boot stick has been shut down properly, so it doesn't need to check disk. Even though it's not called check disk, but we just assume, you know, we go by that name. Michael, you know I'm actually going to butcher the CPU if I do that. I'll probably practice on a few of the dead CPU boards first. Did I press the button? Okay. I bought the infrared heater thing about, it's going to be getting close to a year ago now, and I still have not even turned it on. Thanks, Greg. Pro Engineer, yes it would. I suppose the reason why I still stick with these is because I've got a lot of them. They've got both the USB-C and the USB-A on them. The amount of time when it's booting properly that it takes to boot is not really a lot. And if they die, they're like $9 to replace. Overall, it's just an easier, compact way of me just to have a boot system. Alright, so as we can see, this is still, it's taking forever to boot. So we've got a battery fault here. There. Yeah, it's doing the same thing. So this particular job, it's going to need a new battery and the main board has to be replaced. So how's the Aussie dollar? It's actually bouncing up again. So I was lucky. I managed to cash out a good amount of money at, I think, 71.5 plus throw on PayPal's conversion, which means it'll be about 74.5. But at least I got it out then. And that paid, I had to pay the back patio, the builder for that. So it was about, it was a bit over $11,000. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think we can definitely say this is the battery at fault. Which means I'll have to inform the person and get their due consent. So yeah, whatever's gone wrong in here, it's not so much, it's messing with the I2C lines that go to the SMC. So it's either hogging the line or yeah, just something. And that's why it takes so long to boot. Alright. So, let's see. Which is going to be fun because it already was costing me a little more because they had to get a complete mainboard replacement. But, you know, what you going to do? What you going to do? Just take that little extra hit. Oh no, don't do that to me. Oh, seriously? Damn it, I can't do it. Can't stop myself. This is suffering a sloppy hinge issue. So, see how it just does that jump? There's a sloppy hinge issue, and the trouble is it's under there. But I have to fix it. But I've put the whole board in already. But you have to fix it. Crud. I don't know what's faster. It would have been nice if I checked that before I put the board in. Not leaving alone, Joseph. Just, I can't stand sending machines back with that issue. Okay, see if I can actually just get away with it this way. There we go, see, it's sloppy as. So because it won't be long before that really gets out of hand. And that one too. Generally don't find it needs Loctite. Since they're going into aluminium, I find I can just sort of bite them a little more in and they come up good. Yeah, within limits, you obviously don't want to overdo it and end up stripping things out, because then you'd definitely be worse off. Whoops, got to put the clutch cover back on. Thanks for reminding me, nobody. Funnily enough, putting the clutch cover back on is actually the hardest part of this whole process. This is just like some magical fairy alignment bull crud that you have to get just right. And then it just sort of goes, see, that was easy. And you're like, yeah, mm-hmm. And I've yet to find a supplier of genuinely good replacement clutch covers. They're all too thin. And as soon as you try to actually lock them in, they just pop open. Yeah, see what I mean? The clutch cover's the worst part, getting it back on. Because everything's got to be notched in before it will slide across. Because some people just smash them on there and hope that the client doesn't notice. There we go. Yep, clapping. Ta-da! We're good, see? So yeah, it's hopefully 10 minutes extra only to do it. And it's a pain, but it's something I like to just get done. It's kind of like if you're a auto mechanic and you spot something on a car that isn't a major issue but will become one. Okay, now normally we don't have this much trouble getting the back onto the hinges, but I guess today we are. What happened? See the bald spot on the top of my head? Yeah, kind of overshot a little bit with the... There we go. That's why. Just going to put a placement screw in on either side, and that lets you safely bring the hinges down. Okay, let's check the alignment. It's a bit hard to tell with the alignment on this one because it's pretty butchered up, but I can feel it's probably a little on the left there. Okay. Loosen this one up just to let that pressure come off, and that's good. Alright. Barry, board swap is done, and I just adjusted I just fixed up the hinges on the screen because they were loose as anything. So like now we shouldn't get the... there. It's actually, strangely enough, there is actually a little bit of extra slop in there. No, certainly not like it was before though. I know I definitely tightened those up. So from here, it's not my fault. I've done my thing. It might be simply because I don't have these two screwed in. Though it doesn't seem like that should be the cause. It could be as well the shaft assembly in there. It's probably opened up a bit, but I don't really have the tool to clamp that down nicely. Anyway. You could use a pair of pliers. There is always the risk of slippage. fan. Cheese head. Alright, that's it. And like I said, we just need to get a battery into that one. We'll just put 2 screws in so that we can keep the parts together, as it were. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yep. I'm just going to see that it does boot to the client's SSD. Come on. Hey, Jason. Okay. Alright, that's booting. Looks good. Shut down. And now it should boot a bit quicker at least. It is actually a slightly unnervingly long delay between me powering up and it bonging. 165 should not take that long. I mean, it boots straight away. I could be pulling it from... Okay, that's fine on the reset. I think it's booting from a hibernated. Let's check something on this. No passcode given to me. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh well. Shut down. That's that done. And given that it's 1 o'clock in the morning, it's probably me done for the night too. Okay. Alright everybody, thank you all for being here. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow being Friday, much to my shock. Here I was thinking tomorrow was going to be Thursday, but nope, not the case. I've lost a day somewhere in the week. Probably when I was just sleeping all day because of this pain that I've got. And I will, yeah, if we get anything interesting tomorrow, we'll put that up. Otherwise, maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we'll get the PCBs for, you know, the clicky keyboard switch, and then we can have a really long boring stream of me manufacturing 20 of these as well as fixing up the remaining multimeters with the new CH340 chips. So alright, we'll see how we go. Until then, you take care. Thanks all for being here. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you next time.